Alright, this is Matt.
This is Aaron.
And we're going to be talking One Piece today. We're going to be talking... This is a really big arc. It's the Summit War arc. And we're going to break it into two parts. And for the record, today we are going to be talking about the Zabodi arc, some of the interim stuff that happens between that's really quick, and we're going to be talking about Impel Down on One Piece. So, Aaron, where did we leave off from Thriller Bark?
I think we were confused at the end of Thriller Bark, but from Thriller Bark, the Straw Hats have picked up a new sword. They've come up with this strange idea that Kuma may or may not actually be an enemy, but they don't really know. Mm-hmm. He may just be an ambivalent warlord that likes to screw with people. They're unsure. And they're sailing. They've got their shadows back. They've picked up a musician who's kind of a nut.
Yeah.
Looking for underwear all of the time.
And he's always joking about how if he had flesh, that would really hurt. Or,
yeah.
If I had eyes, but I don't. And he would always laugh like that.
It tastes great, except for if I had a tongue.
Yeah.
Crap like that.
And he always laughs after it, so...
And they're heading to Shabandi Archipelago. They're halfway done.
Okay, so... Shabandi Archipelago, what is the geographical importance of that place?
Well, first and foremost, Shabandi Archipelago runs right across, right next to the Red Line.
Yeah.
Which is basically the makeshift mountains that cut the world literally into two hemispheres. They go all the way around, and in order to get anywhere, you have to either go above them, or as we learned in Shabandi, under them.
Now, the thing that you have to realize about this place is, in order to get to the New World, you have to go through Mermaid Town, or Mermaid City?
Mermaid Island.
Fishman Island. Fishman Island. So you have to get to Fishman Island. In order to do that, you have to coat your ship into a bubble so that it goes underneath the
red line.
The red line. And the person that they ended up needing is drunk in jail, I think, or whatever. That's who they're looking for. What's his name?
Well, they don't know yet, but they're looking for Rayleigh.
They're looking for Rayleigh, who is, just to be clear up front, if they find out later that this guy is Gold Roger's second in command from back in the day.
Yeah, his first mate. And actually, it's kind of interesting because when they're at the Red Line, a few sort of funny things happen along the way. The first is the ongoing gag of Sanji's wanted poster. If you recall from back when it came out, he got a huge buffs as far as his bounty went, and then the picture was really bad. It looked like someone had hand-drawn it.
Yeah, because someone forgot to take a picture while they were there.
Yeah, or something happened to it. I forget what. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And so you find out in Shabandi, the sort of your first introduction to it is that these bubbles, which let you go underwater, which they're going to put on the ship, also get used for a lot of other things. They make everything float in this area because of their makeup. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that they have are basically dolphins with these, or dolphins or some sort of sea creature, I forget. Maybe seahorses that have these bubbles around them that fly through the sky, and there's this gang, and the guy who leads the gang, I believe his name is Duval.
Yeah.
Actually looks like Sanji's theoretical.
Against Sanji because
he's been getting a lot of shit.
And what's hilarious, because they do eventually meet, what's hilarious about this relationship is that Sanji is pissed that he's getting all the credit for everything that he's done, but at the same time, he's also, like, the other guy's like you ruined my life. I had nothing to do with it.
I'm getting hunted by the Marines. I had to become a gangster or a dude. So it's kind of funny. And actually, throughout the fight, Sanji beats the other piss out of him naturally by kicking.
Oh yeah.
And you want to finish off what he does to him?
I think he kicks his face into a better face, just so that he never gets confused for the wanted poster ever again.
Yeah, basically he just kicks him so hard and so many times that he fixes his facial issues.
Yeah, so he ends up looking very pretty.
Which is another sort of ironic because Sanji's now jealous. He's a ladies' man.
Now, this is the first arc, I think, in One Piece where we have a real sense of, nothing is as it appears.
Yeah, you really get an idea of the political background.
Like, this is...
At least a little.
Like, One Piece was, always had, some... This is where it really kicks off the, the social horror, that goes on. Because what we're introduced in this arc, fairly quickly too, I think, is the Celestial Dragons, the World Nobles.
Well, it starts off with them finding Hachi, if you recall.
Okay.
The 8-armed fishman from Arlong's crew.
Yeah.
basically, I forget what kind of trouble they do. They get into some sort of issue
Mm-hmm.
where he does, I forget which, and they run into him.
And he's very apologetic to Nami and all that stuff.
Absolutely. He feels terrible and is very kind. He introduces them to a starman whose name escapes me, and Shaki, who is technically speaking, I guess would be a fish man, but she's a shark lady, I believe.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that really start to tell them a little bit about the Tenryu Bitu, or the Celestial Dragons.
Yeah.
And also the ones who introduce him to Rayleigh.
And when they first get to the archipelago, they notice a similarity to Arlong's Fishman Park back from East Blue, and this is the point where we're sort of introduced to the idea that there's been a lot of political injustice going on.
Yeah.
Because do they dive right into the because when you first meet the Celestial Dragons, they are literally riding on the back of another like a captured slave pirate.
Yeah, they're right at that, and also the major way that you're introduced to them is Kimi gets captured. You want to talk a little bit about that?
So, of course, because they make friends in every single island.
King's hockey at work.
So, whenever they meet someone, I'm trying to think, what was, was she a regular girl, or was she...
No, she's a mermaid.
She was a mermaid, okay.
She's not dead yet, we think.
Okay. So, because, there's these injustices going on, there's actual slavery and slavery auctions going on, and the way they enforce this is that they have collars that if you disobey or they set it off or you run away, the collar goes off and explodes and it kills you.
Yeah, death bomb collars.
Yes, and the Celestial Dragons we're introduced to, I think there's 3 of them. There's a father, a daughter, and a son, and the son is a retard. I'm talking snot hanging out of his nose. Never wiped his own ass in his life. Has a gun that can kill a lot of people. Pretty strong.
I think it's a regular gun, but yeah, the
guns in One Piece are funny because
they are.
Because for every time someone has a gun that it'll kill a regular person, but it does shit against some of the others.
Well, it's called plot armor,
and there's that. But but this one actually looks like it's designed to take down the bigger dudes, but at the same time, there's nothing really going on about it. So. There's a plot involved in Sabaody where a friend of theirs is captured for slavery, and she's taken to the slave auction. So, Duval was his name?
Duval was the guy that looked like Sanji, yes.
Okay, Duval goes looking for him. All the group meets at the slave auction house. And this is where they find Rayleigh, because Rayleigh, who the person they were looking for, but it turns out Rayleigh got drunk one night or went gambling, and he couldn't pay off the money so he just decided that he was going to deal with the slave auction for however long it took him, because he has the boss skills to just get out of it if he needs to.
Yeah, he can just basically all right,
I'm done
my
with this
debt's paid, I'm gone.
Peace.
Good luck stopping me.
Now, an element that we haven't introduced so far. Now, this is a very important arc. I really recommend people watch this, because this informs a lot of the things that go forward in the rest of the series. The Worst Generation. There's a group of every year they look at it as a graduating class or a freshman class, so to speak. The really badass pirates that make it to the big leagues, and this year there's 13.
I don't remember.
Well, however many there is in the Worst Generation. There's Luffy.
I don't think they give you a specific number. I think there are the super rookies. I think there are 7 of those.
I thought there was more super rookies.
I think it's 7, but I could be wrong.
I think it's more, just because if I had to guess, there's Luffy. You're introduced to Metal Arms, which is the hell's his name? You're introduced to Law. You're introduced to the Mad Monk. You're introduced to the one chick, the guy that looks like a gangster. There's Drake. That's already 7. I think there's 8. Maybe.
I don't think they're all considered super rookies. They're all worst generation. I think the super rookies are the ones that are like over.
Is super rookies the like Law, Luffy?
People like Law, Luffy, Apu.
Apu is the monk, right?
No, Arouge is the monk.
Arouge is the monk. So who's
he's also one. Apu's the monkey guy, and then the monkey-based pirate captain.
Okay.
And then there's a guy that's Kid.
Kid, that's his name. That's the guy that can control metal.
Yes.
Okay,
I think those are the 7 super rookies, but there are a lot from the worst generation.
Well, Drake was another.
I think
one.
Drake might also be the 7th.
Well, I want to.
That's 7.
I want to say there was at least 13 because like there's a couple chicks that we're not thinking about right now.
Yeah, but I don't think they're super rookies. I think they're just part of the worst generation.
All right, so
like Bonnie's considered a worst generation, but she's not a super rookie.
And these guys all have a lot of power in different ways. Luffy has like you know who Luffy is.
I would hope so. Otherwise, you're in the wrong place.
Kid has the ability to control metal, and he's like a watch the world burn type. Meanwhile, Law is a little bit more cool and calculated, but he has the ability to control his environment in such a way that if he wants to like put a field around, anything in that field he can cut up and rearrange.
Without killing or harming
you. So
makes him a powerful surgeon.
I think it's revealed later he had the Doctor fruit or something.
I think so.
Something like that. The next thing that you have to realize is that you have a thing that you're not supposed to do, and of course Luffy's going to do it.
Yeah, if you tell him he's not supposed to, that's pretty much the death flag there.
Yeah, long-time rewatchers will know that this is going to happen, but the Celestial Dragon's son, King Idiot, he decides that he wants their friend, the mermaid, that's up for auction.
Yep.
And he says, I want that, so he buys her.
Or tries to, yeah.
Tries to, but there's something else happens that sets Luffy off. I don't think it's just that he tries buying her. I think he also... Did he kill Hachi?
No. He shot Hachi.
Okay, so at the thing, I think Hachi either tries to stop or does something, and... or I don't even think it was that. I think Hachi was just in the room and the guy was like, oh, ugly fish man, and like fires. Something like that?
Well, the basic premise, without getting lost in the minutia, is that the Tenryubi B2, the Celestial Dragons, are just drawn absolutely disgustingly, and they're given the idea that they don't have any regard for human life. So essentially, after watching that for a period of time, Luffy just absolutely... Like, we've seen Luffy get annoyed. We've seen Luffy do stupid shit, but normally he has a smile on his face.
And Luffy sees what this guy does to friends of his, and sees his arrogance.
He just flips out.
And because he was just like joyously dancing back and forth as like he shot somebody who was a friend of his.
Yeah.
So Luffy, with anger in his face, in front of the worst generation, and
in front of the entire auction house.
And uppercuts the shit out of the Celestial Dragon idiot. And
he punches him pretty hard in the face.
And just to give you an idea, like how important this is, One Piece doesn't always go like white screen with like blue outlines to like show like really dramatic stuff. It's a cliche in anime of a certain generation, but when they do no coloring, all sketches of just like to show power, they do this. And what you realize, if the reason why no one else hit a Celestial Dragon before or mess with them, is that if you mess with one, like try to rob one or anything, it becomes a thing where 3 Navy admirals show up to kill you.
Well, they call it... I don't think all 3 of them came, did they?
Is it 3 vice admirals or 3 admirals? Or an admiral shows up. It's not 3.
Well, here's the deal: is essentially it pisses off the Marines, and they send everything they have nearby right at you immediately.
Yep. So
It's one level short of a Buster Call.
Yeah, the block got hot for them really quickly.
Yeah.
So
I mean, he saves Kami, which is good.
yeah.
But Kizaru shows up,
Mm-hmm.
and a guy who's a bounty hunter whose name I can't remember, but Harry's a real big hammer shows up.
I want to say like Gene or
He brings the original, what become the PX Zeros, basically the clones of Kuma,
Okay.
the first versions of those. He
Okay.
brings them with him.
And this is the admiral that has the electricity
Light.
or light. Okay.
Light.
And this
Electricity
is
was Enel, buddy boy. That was Sky Island.
well, I know it was Enel, but I wasn't sure if he had light or if he had. I know it's
light.
like some sort of power.
He's light.
Power. So, but
He's light, and he's one of the considered one of the unbeatable fruits.
Yeah.
Electricity and light both are because they're extreme speed and extreme destruction.
Yeah. So
and they try to get their asses kicked.
this is the first time that Luffy and the Straw Hats have a Butch and Sundance moment where they're not on a cliff looking to jump. They're stuck in Mexico and they are surrounded and
There's no cliff to jump off of.
yeah.
There is no escape.
Yeah, and
They try. They try valiantly.
they try valiantly, and what ends up happening to the Straw Hats in particular is Kuma shows up,
Yep.
and what it looks like Kuma does is just makes you disappear.
Yeah.
And like we saw it before in Thriller Bark, where he made Lollygoth Ghost Girl disappear,
Yeah.
and he only did it to her, right? In that one?
In that one, yes.
So,
But in truth, that's not what happens.
well, what we find out, and this is after we see a sort of team up with Kid and Law on Luffy's part, where like they're just showing off to each other like what they can do, and the Kuma makes all the Straw Hats disappear.
Yeah, he hits them.
And this is after Luffy got his ass kicked by the Admiral.
Yep.
And like it's a very hard moment because you know they're going to make it because there's more seasons coming afterwards.
Yeah.
But-
They're not going to end the manga. By the way, you hit the wall, you're dead.
Now, can you imagine if they actually relaunched the manga at that moment and be like,
That'd be awesome.
and just like not like keep it, mom, just like end it
Yeah.
there and then relaunch it.
We launch it like 2 weeks later just to screw with everyone.
Yeah, like don't tell anyone they're going on break. Like just put the end at the bottom.
Yeah.
But next is the next thing we realize is that Luffy is traveling towards an island that he has no idea where the hell he is.
Yeah, so let's finish your thought before you stop mid thing and make it make no sense. What we realized about Kuma, which is what you were saying before, you were like, imagine if they stopped, is that his fruit doesn't actually make you disappear. It just sends you really very quickly to another place of his choosing.
Yep.
And so what he essentially does is he sends each of the Straw Hats to a different island.
Yep.
Which we now know many times and many days in the future that these were very very carefully picked by Kuma to be places that they could each grow.
Well, it appears that way. Did it ever come out and say like this? That was the plan.
Well, Kuma knows who Luffy's father is, and Kuma is a member of his father's army.
I know, but
so it's kind of assumed.
I know it's kind of assumed, but at the same time, though, like they've never come out and said it. I mean,
if he really wanted them dead, he'd send them each to the center of the ocean between islands.
that's
So
true. Okay,
so I think that it has to be implied that
he gave him a chance.
he's giving them a chance, and he puts them in places that they can probably learn something. It's also kind of interesting. You get a sort of a slight taste of how powerful. You indirectly get a slight taste of how powerful Roger was, because when they're fighting, as Matt mentioned, Luffy got his butt kicked by Kizaru, and naturally you need a Deus Ex Machina to come save your butt if you're fighting someone way too powerful.
Enter Rayleigh
You watch Rayleigh go up head to head against
with the sword.
Kizaru using a regular sword. And you find out that Rayleigh doesn't have a devil fruit.
Nope. But
He's legit fighting this guy with one of the unbeatable fruits, the Kizaru with the light fruit, with one hand on his sword, and he's pissed off at himself. And when Kizaru asks why, he goes, "I'm so much slower in my old age. I used to be able to take on two of you simultaneously with the same one hand." And you get the sense that in his heyday, Since Kizaru doesn't seem to disagree with him, he's probably not lying. And if he's only the equivalent of Zoro on Roger's ship, think about the power difference between Zoro and Luffy. You get a rough idea that Rogers must have been this incredible monster.
You know what? That's the one thing we haven't gotten out of this series.
We have not found out much, no. But it's an assumption.
Like, he has to be really damn good at what he does.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, we haven't gotten the, like, how strong was he?
No idea. We just know that he didn't have a devil fruit. But anyway, so as we're moving forward then, they all get sent to different islands, but of course we only find out about Luffy. And from this point on until well after where we're going to stop today, we only know about Luffy for now.
We'll talk about that once we...
We don't find out about them till way after the war.
Are you sure? Like, yes. I could have sworn, like, the...
The anime might have touched on it, the manga did not.
No, the manga was... The anime adapted cover images.
Yeah.
From
the manga
where
didn't
they
touch
were.
until after the war was over.
Okay, so...
Like, you have no idea where they are for like 150, 200 chapters.
Oh, that had to have been fun.
That sucked.
Well, don't worry, folks. We're going to tell you about them today just because we're going to... Like, after we talk about Impel Down, that's what we're going to talk about.
I don't even think we'll make it that far. We're already at like 20 minutes.
All
we should at least cover Amazon Lily, though.
We're definitely going to pause and take a break while we're recording this, so...
Yeah.
But let's get Amazon Lily done first.
So good.
So Luffy gets sent to an island that's only women, and
Sanji's dream.
Sanji's dream. I think like when they do meet up again, Sanji beats the hell out of him when he finds out about where Luffy got sent to, because the Amazon Lily is the maiden island by reputation where no men are allowed.
Yep.
And what Luffy finds is everyone is a woman. Yep. They all wear skimpy clothes.
Lots of fan service in this arc.
And they all have snakes. Like, everyone has a pet snake.
Pet snake or snake clothing or something.
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty single. But anyway, Luffy meets 3 women. Well, one of them is Marguerite.
I believe so.
And the 2 others, I want to say for... I don't want to butcher this, but I'm probably getting this wrong. Sweet Pea and Alphonora?
I don't remember the...
anyway,
names.
there was a tall one and a big one. Like, it was like Marguerite was a really, like, normal one, and then the big one and a tall one.
Yeah, essentially, when he gets to the island, they start hunting his ass.
Mm-hmm.
And they shoot him with an arrow, and he kind of laughs at it, and then the arrow hits, and he screams, because it hurts.
So, like, the thing that's been hinted about for a really long time is hockey.
Yeah.
And hockey is the ability to, focus your energy, your inner energy, and being able to bypass a devil fruit power.
Yeah.
And Luffy has the ability to use Emperor's Haki, which was in the last arc, which we kind of forgot to mention, because in front of the auction house, he uses it as a way to knock everyone out, I think.
Does he? I don't remember that.
I think he does.
He might, I just don't remember it.
I think Rayleigh notices it in him, or Rayleigh uses his.
I think Rayleigh definitely used his. But I'm not positive on either of those fronts.
So, okay. Then, when Luffy is on this island, he sort of befriends these 3 women.
Yeah.
And he's being hunted at the same time by the leaders. And it turns out the final warlord of the sea is revealed to be not revealed but actually named, because Jinbei is officially the last one to be shown, but he was hinted at I want to say 200 chapters earlier.
Right, but what I'm trying to say is that the one of the warlords of the sea is the person who runs this island.
Yes.
Which is Boa Hancock. She's the queen. Yep. I'm sorry, Hebihime, so princess. But she is the leader, the boss of this island, and she does not tolerate any men whatsoever.
Nope. And we're going to skip forward a little bit. Luffy, I think, wants an audience with her to get a boat to leave the island.
Yeah, he wants to get the hell out.
Well, it turns out he gets into the castle at the same time she is taking a bath.
Surprise, surprise! Luffy finds trouble.
Yep. The most give Oda credit. He puts things in the funniest situations, the most extreme ones. So
Plus, perfect time for fan service.
Yep. Oh yeah, like Boa Hancock is pure fan service at all times.
Even her fruit is fan service.
Her fruit is was it Kiss
Maro
Kiss fruit?
Maro no Mi.
Okay, so
I think it's love in translation.
if she blows a heart at you and touches, you turn to stone.
If you have an impure thought in your head.
Well, does that work on Luffy? I'm trying to remember.
That's why it doesn't. So the idea is basically that she is this incredibly gorgeous beauty that stands out above all others in the world. And that if her fruit basically works, that if you're thinking about anything, she uses her power on you, you turn to stone. Which, generally speaking, given that she is this, high charisma, gorgeous beauty, is pretty much every male on the planet,
and woman apparently, because
and many women. Yes,
she turns the 3 women that helped Luffy to stone.
Yeah,
and Luffy gets upset at this, but Boa doesn't care, and throws him into the Colosseum.
Yeah, it's basically like a Colosseum as a form of execution.
Okay, and the first thing he has to fight is a giant cat.
Yeah, he beats that easy.
Easy. Straight uppercut, no hockey.
He doesn't know hockey at this point.
Well, hockey is like a really common thing for everyone on this island.
Yeah, but not him.
Not
he
him.
uses it unconsciously once in a while, but...
Yeah, and I think, is Sanji's, Diablo Flambe
we still
kick?
don't really know, but we kind of guess it probably is.
Alright, so then there's Zoro cutting the one dude. There's been hockey in the series before, but now we're knowing why it is.
And now it's called that.
Okay.
Because he actually asks them during the chase scene we skipped, why do the arrows hurt me? And they go, because there's hockey in them, dum-dum.
Okay, and...
So these guys, it's something they're brought up with from day one.
Now, Boa Hancock has 2 sisters, and they are nowhere near as pretty as her.
Not even remotely close.
Not even remotely close. Like, these 2, this is where, exaggeration comes into play, and you think they're, either part giant or something, but they look like snakes, and they look like giant, snake doll women, sort of.
It's assumed to probably be part of their devil fruit.
Okay. So, they have the ability to turn into snakes, right?
Yep. 2 different types of snakes.
Yep. And
zones.
They have to fight Luffy.
Well, they want to execute him. They assume that they're just going to beat him with ease.
Mm-hmm. So, Luffy manages to beat them. However, this is important. There's a myth going on about the 3 sisters. Is that if you see any of the 3 princesses naked, you turn to stone or whatever, and in the course of the conversation, there is, and this is why Luffy was thrown into the Colosseum immediately, was because he saw what was on the back of Boa Hancock.
Of course, he didn't know what it was.
No idea what it is.
But he saw it.
So,
which, for the record, is a tattoo.
Yeah, but this is where the important part is. In the fight with the sisters, one of the sisters is holding on for dear life, but she can't cover her back, which has the mark of the celestial dragons on there. Meaning that the sisters at one point were all slaves to the celestial dragons, the world nobles.
Yeah.
Now, Luffy, being a good guy, just jumps on her back so that no one can see what the mark was.
Yeah.
And Boa Hancock is struck by this, so this is their friending moment because Luffy, even though he wants to win the fight, doesn't want, just out of courtesy...
Doesn't want anybody else to know.
Not even that. He doesn't even know what it is.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to...
He just took them at their word that this is their greatest
bad.
shame and that it would cause them pain and problems if it ever got out. So he just covers it up.
Yeah, and in addition to that, another part of their fight that's really important to note is that Hancock starts by turning the 3 friends that he had into statues.
Yeah.
And she tries to turn him into a statue. It doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why he's fighting the cat and then the sisters.
Mm-hmm.
But they go to knock. I guess during the fight, they knock over, or they intentionally knock over the statue of his friend, which freaks him out, and that's where he reveals to them, again unintentionally because he doesn't know it, he has the king's hockey because he uses his hockey to pause the two of them, the statue, from being harmed.
Mm-hmm.
That's what causes one of the sisters to fall down, her being paused by the hockey, creating the issue that he has to cover her back. And so he shows him one shot that even though they're trying to kill him, that A, he still values his friends above himself, and B, that he respects his opponent even if they're trying to hurt him. And that's kind of what sort of drives the final nail into the coffin for Boa Hancock falling in love with him.
Oh yeah, after this one, it becomes a joke.
Head over freaking heels.
Like she'll be like sitting in her room, like just like in pain, just as like lovesick, like literally lovesick.
Love sickness, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what the granny, was it Granny Baba or something?
Something like that.
Niemba, that's the name.
Okay.
It's like, you're lovesick. You either have to leave or you're going to die. Because that's apparently how all of the snake queens or snake princesses die. They die from lovesickness.
Okay, so, at this point, talking to Boa Hancock, she gets an invitation to come to Marineford to oversee the execution of
course, Ace. Which, of course, doesn't exactly make Luffy very happy.
Oh no, he decides like, all right, I gotta find my crew, but I can't find my crew. I gotta go help my brother right now.
Yeah, I can't. Execution beats, off in the distance.
Yeah, so he doesn't even know where.
He doesn't even know if they're alive or not. He assumes they went to other islands because he went to another island.
Yeah.
But he does know exactly where Ace is, and Ace is in the hellish prison of the Marines.
All right, do you want to do Impel Down and where they all went, or do you want to do where they all went real quick?
I mean, I would wait on where they went because you don't find out yet in the manga, and I would keep the same image. If you want to say it, go ahead, but it ruins a massive amount of spoiling.
Okay, tell you what, we'll do Impel Down first, then we'll do that, just because I really think that Impel Down was we'll pause it first, but then we'll just figure out where it came in. But we're definitely going to tell them in this episode. I think just because I think the post-war arc didn't have where they all went.
It did, but that's all right.
All right, let's check first. All right, we'll be back.
Take care.
Okay, we're back. So we did some research, and it turns out we find out in the cover stories of the manga and in the anime, we get certain episodes dealing with what happens to the remaining Straw Hats. So Zoro, we'll do last because Zoro's kind of important. But all right,
Zoro's hysterical.
Let's start with Sanji.
All right.
So,
his makes the most sense after Impel Down, but go ahead.
So Sanji gets sent to an island that is fake women.
It's the Okama land.
Which is, everyone is a dude.
Yep, dressed as a chick.
That they don't subscribe to gender. It just so happens that everyone is really a dude, but dressed as a woman.
They all find themselves to be ladies.
And Sanji learns two things on this island. He learns how to run so fast that he can do what the Navy does, an air, kick, and fly that way.
Yep.
And he also learns that is for every challenge that he meets or every day he doesn't get raped or whatever, he gets a new recipe.
Every cook that he beats, yeah.
Every cook that he beats.
Every master chef or something like that.
So he learns
has a secret recipe.
So he learns the secret recipes of this island. So as a cook, he can become an even better cook.
And we actually never get told, or at least not yet, whether or not he got one of them or all of them, or if there's still a waiting secret special Ogi recipe. We don't know.
So we just
know he learned a lot about cooking.
Yeah.
Although truthfully, we don't learn too much about what they learn until much later. Mm-hmm. But that definitely happens to him. Nami ends up on Witheria, on one of the weather islands in Sky. Well, I think it's called Witheria. It's an island within Sky Islands.
It's one of the Sky Islands, and it's full of weather wizards, where they have the ability to control weather, with technology. They have
like an upgrade from dials. They have all kinds of tech, but specifically for things like little storms or sun. And
so
things like that.
Her dial tact that she has, like the bow that she's currently using,
The Climatact.
the Climatact comes out of this.
Nope, I think it was always called that.
Well, the Climatact gets a major upgrade because of this island, and because Nami is a navigator, she gets access to a lot of information about the new world, and she gets a lot of information on the islands themselves and how they work.
Mostly specifically related to their weather patterns. What type of weather and seas you're going to find in the new world. What things can you use to predict it? The wind's going to blow in a certain direction with a low pressure system.
And of
implies
course,
blah.
and everyone is trying to get back together, but of course she realizes that she's going to try and rob the place first before she leaves. Yep. And but she can't escape. Decides that she has to learn to better herself first.
And actually, hers is kind of funny because much like Sanji having the ironics of the guy who really, really likes women ends up in the place with absolutely no women whatsoever.
Yeah.
Nami, being a young lady, ends up in the weather of all old men.
Mm-hmm.
And so no matter how often she tries to steal from them or screw them over, as Matt mentioned, all she has to do is cry, and they all, they haven't had anybody under the age of 60, it looks like, based on the pictures, in years, let alone a female, and they're all guys.
Yep.
And so they just, whatever she does, if she throws the tears out, they forgive her.
So then Chopper ended up at...
Chopper ends up on this island where the cavemen are fighting the birds.
Okay.
And it turns out that despite the fact that the cavemen are cavemen, they're incredibly civilized and incredibly, while their appearances don't show it, they're incredibly technical. Mm-hmm. They have technology and a lot of medicine knowledge.
Yeah.
Far beyond that of most other islands.
Okay, so this is if you're noticing a pattern here, this is why we think Kuma this is a strong theory that Kuma sent each person to an island where they could improve themselves.
Yeah. Because we find out that Kuma was a member of the Resistance Army, and that's, of course, Luffy's dad's army. So, it kind of makes sense that he wouldn't try and screw over his boss's son.
My second favorite one, or the 1A and 1B, has to be Frankie.
Frankie's is good.
Frankie gets sent to an island that used to be the island what's the Dr.
Vegapunk.
It's his original island.
It's his home anyway.
It's his home island. And they have the Vegapunk labs there, and the Vegapunk labs has a lot of technology to learn from. But, of course, Frankie blows it up.
Yeah, I don't think he destroys everything in it.
Well, he destroys himself.
He hurts himself. He gets himself pretty badly injured.
So he rebuilds himself with Vegapunk technology.
Yeah, and learns from that as well.
Well, learns from its key, but what's funny is he doesn't really learn so much as he just this is here.
Yeah.
So
and it's actually kind of interesting because if you look at it from another perspective, that's the worthless behind the times tech that Vegapunk doesn't care about because he didn't even leave a security system for it.
Yep. So then Robin
ends up with the Revolutionary Army.
Robin ends up in the Evolutionary
Army. There you go. There's all the new Zoan fruits, right? No.
Yeah.
The Revolutionary Army.
So she ends up with do they introduce
Nope. All you know is that she's in the Revolutionary Army.
But it was
they don't tell you about you-know-who yet.
Well, but who are the two people that she does come into contact with?
I don't remember, and I don't think it's told much about here. They're not like people you've seen before. They're new characters.
Okay. All right. So then Zoro.
Zoro is probably the best.
All right. Do you remember that chick that Kuma sent away in Thriller Bark, the ghost lolly chick?
I remember her vaguely, yes.
Yes. Well, she and Zoro meet up at the home of Hawkeye Mihawk.
Yep.
The #1 swordsman in the world.
Yep. And you can guess what happens there.
So Zoro is trying to figure out a way to get back and all that stuff. but he realizes, like, well, this is an opportunity, and he realizes he has to get stronger.
I think it's more that he realizes that at his current strength, he can't continue.
He can't continue against, like, an admiral.
He's not powerful enough to go into the New World yet.
Yep. So he asks Hawkeye Mihawk, the guy who says that he said to, I want to beat you, I want to surpass you as a swordsman.
Yeah.
Like, train me, please, to defeat you.
Yeah, basically.
And, like, Mihawk's response was just, like,
No.
no, not even... No,
Initially, it's just, why would I do that?
Like, why would I do that? This fucking guy wants me to train him to beat me. He's like, why the hell am I going to do that?
Yeah. Give me a motivation.
So, like, with the, just, like the earnest determination and just, like, the realize it, like, saying out loud, it's like, I can't
Move forward.
I can't move forward, like, like, the way it is. So, Mihawk sends him out into the woods to fight the copycat apes.
Yeah.
So
that's his first challenge.
So there's an ape.
But I think it's even less than that. I believe it's that he says no, and Zoro's like, "Well, if you're not going to help me, then I have to. I have no other choice." And he runs into the copycat apes.
Well, I don't know how he did it, but like first he finds the apes who he cuts down. The first one's easy.
Yeah.
The second one, though, shows up with 3 swords, just like him, and like I think Zoro manages to win.
And he's like, "What the hell?"
But then the big ape that's copying Mihawk, who has
a large sword,
and
I think he uses hockey too, doesn't he?
I don't know if the ape uses hockey, but
I don't remember.
But you don't see their fight.
No.
But like Mihawk and like Ghost Lolly girl are
they're just watching.
Are like they're entertained by
they're
this.
Just laughing, basically the equivalent of laughing their asses off.
Yeah, so like that's really interesting. But this is the end of what I think we jumped out a little bit because the manga had it towards the end of Impel Down, and the anime had it as
still towards the edge of Impel Down, especially Zoro's, because his you're really introduced to when he reads the message.
But they were all like concurrent. It wasn't as I'm pretty sure like they were. I want to say they were all 7 straight episodes, 6 or 7
probably.
straight episodes.
Probably.
So, Impel Down. Luffy is sneaking in there with Boa Hancock.
Yeah, this is where Oda takes the fan service from the Amazon Valley arc and just kind of pushes it a little too far into ridiculousness.
Yep, I think Boa was wearing Luffy as it was either a coat or like
well, basically what happens
wrapped around her.
She's wearing a really big coat, and he's basically clinging to her torso, hiding underneath the coat.
Yeah, wrapped around. Yeah,
wrapped around, which of course with Boa Hancock's state of mind is hysterical.
Yeah, like so. The main point of this arc is to save Ace. They have one goal: save Ace. Get down to the bottom of
level 6.
Level 6. Save Ace. Get out.
And run away
before he has to face the execution.
Yep, and get him the hell out of there.
Yep. So Luffy manages to sneak into the prison.
Yep. Underneath Boa's coat.
And then Boa is going down to like the level 6 to just go down and
inspect, I think, right?
Well, not even inspect. She says she wants to meet Ace himself.
Yeah.
So she takes a direct elevator with the warden. Yeah. And we're introduced to the warden, and we're introduced to the co-warden, among others. One of them is Magellan, who is the warden. And his assistant, I want to say Hannibal is is an equivalent name.
I think that's right.
So the warden has like a really strong uniform look, but Hannibal has a like a Egyptian pharaoh look, you would say.
Yeah.
And there's a running gag between the two of them. We're just gonna because it shows up repeatedly, but we're gonna get it out of the way now. Mm-hmm. The warden is always like trying to get the vice warden to accept responsibility for things and just
do his job.
And because he's the future. The warden believes that the vice warden is the future, that Hannibal is the next guy in line.
Yep.
Meanwhile, the vice warden is always scheming to get like the warden's job.
Yep.
He's always scheming to do it, but whenever he gets caught in a scheme, it's always like played comedically.
Yeah.
And the other running joke with Magellan is that because he has the venom fruit, he's always running to the bathroom. Always. It's like every...
His stomach is hurt by his own venom.
Yeah, his stomach can't handle his own venom, so he's always running to the bathroom. So Boa Hancock is getting a tour, and we're introduced to Ace's situation where he's chained up at the bottom cell next to Jinbei, the 7th warlord. We're finally introduced to him for the first time. Because Jinbei was Ace's friend, and he tried to break him out too, but ended up at the bottom, stuck there until the execution is over.
Yep.
That was the plan. So there's... they don't introduce anybody else in the room at the time, but those are the two important people at the bottom at the moment. So Luffy gets into the first level of Impel Down, which has 6 levels. So the first level is just regular jail. Regular hell, I think they call it.
Yeah.
And then...
Well, you have the list.
Okay, so...
I think you're right. I think the first one is regular hell.
Regular hell is everyone with the bounty of, let's say, I don't know, Buggy or less. Because guess who he runs into? Buggy! And Luffy teams up with Buggy to get down to the bottom because Buggy says, if you're going to break him out of here, then I'll help you because you'll break me out of here.
Yeah, basically.
And
also, I believe Luffy bribes him with a rather nice treasure map.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, Buggy is like he hurts, but he wants to find the greatest treasure. And Buggy actually has a nice trick for this one because if he's holding his feet, he can fly.
Yeah, basically. And they find him, the first level, Crimson Hell.
So, Crimson Hell is the name of the first level, and they get through that pretty quickly. The second level of hell, the second...
Wild Beasts.
Is the Wild Beast Hell.
Yep.
And there's, I want to say, 5 or 6, guards that are just, really strong beast or devil fruit users.
Mm-hmm.
And
mostly puzzle scorpions, manticores.
Yeah.
Bad stuff like that. Basilisks, a sphinx.
Well, the guy that they run into in the second level is Mr. 3 from the Alabasta arc. The guy that could do wax.
Yep, fingers. The wax fruit.
And using his help, they managed to get down there. Now, if you haven't noticed what we're talking about here, there is a pattern of Luffy teaming up with guys that he's beaten to form a super team of pirates that are going to break to the bottom of a prison and break out. Yep. This is the Dirty Dozen. This is the Suicide Squad. This is probably my favorite arc in the whole series because you generally don't know what's going to happen next. There's a huge break in that you don't know who they're going to team up with going forward.
And you don't know whether they're going to win or lose.
You don't know whether they're going to win or lose because the only one that you know is walking out of there is Luffy.
And even then, I'll be honest, most of the arc, I was looking for the Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I'm not going to say that this is necessarily my favorite arc, but it's definitely one that I certainly liked.
Yeah.
And for that reason.
And after they deal with the beast level hell, then they go into starvation hell. Meaning, they're
literally starved.
There's no food.
Yeah, there's the heat rising up from level 4, which is blazing hell. There's the lack of food. There's no water.
Well, the reason why there's no food now each of these hells, these levels of the prison, it's like a giant world that you have to go through. Yeah. And because the hell underneath is burning hell, there's nothing can grow in starving hell.
No, in fact, it's noted that it's basically a desert.
It's a desert, and they actually managed to find the one person that doesn't need to eat because he has that much energy.
Yeah.
It's the return of Mr. 2 or Bonchan, and he is literally having ballerina classes with the rest of
the inmates, and they're all miserable. But it's something to do besides just sit there and realize how hungry you are.
So they break him out, And I'm trying to think, was there any real like the whole point of starvation hell was that there didn't have to be guards.
Yeah, they basically didn't have any guards because, what do you need to guard them from?
Yeah. So they managed to get through to the next level hell down, which is burning hell.
Burning hell, and actually there's a humongo hole in level 3 that leads to level 4.
Yeah.
It's like the main ventilation system, but they don't end up taking it.
Well, every time there is a next level down, all it is a giant hole.
Yeah.
Because they have to push Buggy down, they have to push everyone down, and it's always funny getting Buggy to keep going down further. It's like,
he's like, I'll wait for you on the way up.
No,
you're coming.
So
I paid you.
Then the guy that they run into here is twofold.
It was bad.
This is where they meet Mr. 1. So here's the roster that they're working with. They got Buggy, Mr. 1, 2, and 3 of Baroque Works. And this Mr. 1 was the guy that could turn into the cut fruit. He could turn his hands into steel blades.
Yep. He fought Zoro back on Alabasta, I believe, right?
Yep. And that was the first time we realized that... I'm not saying that was the first time we learned about hockey, but like when Zoro focused his attack and cut...
It was one of the first times.
And he actually cut the guy that's made of steel. That was like one of the earliest hints at hockey. So...
Yeah.
But...
And actually, Mr. 1 doesn't even come out of his cell for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
He's basically resigned himself to death and torture.
Oh, well, he's the only one that, he's one of the few guys that's dealing with the heat well, where he can actually work. And he's actually pushed other people around in that level.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to remember if what the guard was for level 4.
Well, I don't remember the guards, but I can tell you that this is where Luffy and Magellan flash.
Okay, so this is where Magellan shows up. And if you think Luffy got his ass kicked by the Admiral in Zabodi arc, guess what?
This is much worse.
Luffy cannot touch the guy because he's made of venom. Everything that he makes turns into a acidic, venomous, he literally melts the things around him, and if you touch it or breathe it or anything, you're poisoned.
You're poisoned, and it's generally speaking kills people.
Yep. So
it's a very dangerous fruit.
So Luffy gets beat, and I mean beat into a coma, beat until. I think he manages to get the rest of the guys down.
Well, he basically sacrifices himself against Magellan.
Yeah.
To try and get everyone else down, because Luffy's main goal is to save Ace.
Yeah.
And if he has to kill himself to do it, he will.
Yeah.
But also, he kind of thinks he's going to win. And throughout the fight, actually, you start to think that Luffy might actually pull it off. Because he essentially does the rather big trope that happens in a lot of anime or a lot of manga, which is that he starts to fight with his equivalent of life energy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's not to say that he shoots a beam or anything, but he basically decides if I have to stop you or I have to hit you, and it's going to get me poisoned, screw it, I'll take the poison. It's better than just losing.
Yep.
And so he started one of the major reasons why he gets so badly poisoned is in addition to Magellan's final attack, which literally leaves him in a pool of the stuff, where it's seeping into his pores and his cuts and his bruises and his mouth and his eyes and everything, is that he starts punching and kicking him back, and every time he punches Magellan, it looks like it hurts.
Yeah.
Because he's a Zoan. He's not a Logia. He's a Zoan. He can take hits. Not Zoan, excuse me. Paramecium, I misspoke. He takes hits, but every time Luffy hits him, it looks like he does 2 damage to Magellan.
Yep.
And does 4 damage to himself.
Oh, yeah.
And so even though Luffy has the ridiculous willpower and stamina we've seen, he hurts and beats up Magellan a little bit, but in the end, the poison just kills him. It doesn't kill him, but it wins in the end.
So, Luffy is defeated and
basically thrown down into freezing hell, right?
Is
he thrown down, or does Mr. 2 grab him? I think he's thrown down.
I think he's thrown down, but I think Mr. 2 is with him.
Mr. 2 finds him.
Mr. 2
because they all ran away. Magellan basically, I think, just chucked him and was like, I assumed he'd die and then he was done with him.
And this is I'm not saying the Deus Ex, but it leads to it.
Yeah, basically.
So Mr. 2 has maybe one of my favorite moments of the series, because if you thought he was badass, buying time for his friends up against Black Cage, Captain Black Cage, leaving Alabasta.
Bonnie, yeah.
he takes Luffy in his arms and carries him. And they actually redesigned Mr. 2 for this one, because before he was wearing a swan in like a frilly tutu looking thing. But for this one, they go full Freddie Mercury. All he has is like his makeup on and pants and like a ripped abs and shirt. And he's just carrying his friend through the snow.
Yeah.
And because that's what he says from the beginning. Like the moment he made friends with Luffy before they knew they were enemies. When they weren't fighting, he was his friend, and he was his friend afterwards.
Yeah.
And he's looking for a legendary prisoner on level 5.
Yeah.
Emporio Ivankov.
Yeah.
Who would know how to help Luffy if he could help Luffy.
Yeah.
So.
Because at this point, Luffy is unconscious.
Luffy's on death's door.
And in a coma and dying. And dying quickly.
Yep.
And actually, it's interesting how they get found, because as Matt said, Mr. 2 is carrying him, looking for any kind of solution among others.
Yep.
This being one of them. And in the freezing hell, which is basically snow-lit, they get cornered by wolves.
And I think Mr. 2 fights off the wolves.
But he fails. But
Luffy wakes up for a split second and uses Emperor Haki.
Yep. Which I think is what leads Ivankov to them, although it's never stated.
Well, there
seems to be this thing between people who have mastered Haki.
Mm-hmm. They can sense it.
They can sense it, especially if it isn't controlled, if it's unbridled.
Mm-hmm.
And specifically Emperor's Haki, because it sends out that humongous shockwave.
Yep.
And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why he finds them, personally, although it's never said in the manga.
So, Mr. 2, succeeds.
Yeah.
In bringing Luffy to help.
By bringing himself to death's door, he gets him to
He almost dies in the process.
Yeah.
So, Ivankov is one of the funniest characters in the whole series.
He's up there.
He's okay. So, the stuff that that goes back and forth where they're joking is hilarious.
Yeah.
So, he has the ability to gender swap people.
Well,
and
go ahead.
But it's through the control of hormones.
Yeah, so his ability is to inject you or inject anybody with hormones to do different things.
To make them stronger, to make them faster, to make them anything.
Could be weaker as well, although we're not really shown that. Well, he can gender swap himself, which implies he can probably gender swap others.
Yep.
But he can also sort of force your body into super healing.
But he's also a member of the Resistance.
Yep, the number 2.
He's the number 2 guy in the Resistance to Dragon. So, when does he know that Luffy is?
He has no clue. In fact, it's kind of funny.
He has a son or whatever. Was that his exact words? It's like,
well, so the way it goes down is Ivankov's like, geez, I didn't know Roger had 2 kids, and Luffy just nonchalantly, without knowing anything about Ivankov at this point, goes, "Oh, he's not. Roger's not my dad. We're brothers by
Saki or whatever.
Whatever the ritual is.
Pact.
My dad's dragon." And of course, Ivankov in perfect gag manga format goes on to about 2 sentences, and then the tongue pops down to the ground like, "What?"
Yep. So,
and then he remembers. You see a flashback where he's talking to Dragon, and he tells Dragon, "I think you have a kid, and he's blue." And Dragon's like, avoids the question and doesn't answer it.
Well,
and so he's like, so he did. Well, this is where Ivankov actually joined the cause.
Does Ivankov have 2 points where he first he revives Luffy and then he makes him stronger, or is it just
at this point it's just reviving him?
Okay, so Ivankov doesn't know if
it's less reviving and more activating his healing factor to its absolute maximum.
Yep.
And then Luffy goes through and eats a bajillion calories of food.
Yep. But at this point, even though he's the closest, this is the point where everyone is trying to talk him out of saving Ace.
Yep.
Because the whole time everyone's like, "You're going to go down to level 6? That's not possible."
You're an idiot.
But at this point, it's like you've come this far, but that's only by luck. Is the point that's made to him. But he's like, I gotta do something to save Ace. So, Ivankov's second guy, who is the man half
Inazuma, I think is his name.
Inazuma, they decide they are going to help him now. So,
and most of his underlings come too.
And so everyone that's in that level 6 prison is going to help him out too.
Well, most. What's basically going to happen? What basically happens?
Well,
is
not level 6, level 5. So
level 5 definitely, but they get down to level 6.
Well, when you get down to level 6, they realize that
Ace be gone.
Ace is not there. They weren't in time fast enough, but
probably while Luffy was healing.
Yep, Luffy couldn't get there in time to free him.
Yeah.
So they get down to level 6, but Luffy has been amassing these people that are willing to help him out.
Yep.
So he gets down there, and Jinbei is down there.
Yep.
And there's another person that also down there.
Which is very in theme with his current comrades, I might add.
Yes. He gets Crocodile. The person that beat him up the first time in the series.
And quite honestly, probably even almost as badly as Magellan.
He came the closest to killing him, in my opinion, because he stabbed him, and Luffy had no answers for him other than the water suit, and it was too suiting for hockey. Yeah. But then he had to use his own blood, and that was just that was probably the toughest one out of all the challenges
thus far. Yeah.
But what also happens at this point is Blackbeard shows up.
Yeah. Well, first you got to note that he lets Crocodile out on the condition of helping him.
Yep.
He lets Jinbei out on the condition of helping him, and Buggy releases basically everybody else in level 6,
who become the worst of the worst.
The worst of the worst, and they become his crew.
Like there's about 4 or 5 inmates that go on to become Blackbeard.
Yeah, well they're already gone, but the ones who aren't already gone, other than Jinbei and Crocodile, all become part of Buggy's crew.
Okay.
He lets them out. He saves them, and in very much One Piece fashion. No matter what Buggy does, they see it in some positive light because he's their savior.
Well, Buggy,
he's your strangest lucky character in the entire thing.
Well, Buggy always has to be put into a situation above his weight class, but he always he has the pedigree for it though.
Yeah, which of course we don't know at this point.
No, we knew that he served with.
We didn't know that until we see him with Whitebeard. We don't know that yet. We don't know that he and Shanks have a history.
No, we knew that he and Shanks had a history, but we didn't know that.
But we didn't know they were on the Pirate King's crew.
Okay,
I don't think we knew that yet because that's a big reveal in Marineford.
Okay, so all right. Now the rest of the Impel Down arc is because Luffy is finally literally at rock bottom.
Yeah.
Because Ace isn't there, but he has a crew, and he can.
Now he has a bunch of people to help him.
He has a small army of notable guys.
Of very powerful people. All level for 50 million becomes the men.
So he has to break out of Impel Down now and go to Marineford to get Ace.
Yep.
So
and they do, and actually the breakout until the very end goes pretty smoothly. I mean, they have some battles. Even Call of Battles the Dominatrix lady.
Yeah.
Inazuma goes after Hannibal for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, for the most part, they kind of make their way right up.
So,
because essentially the entire prison is with them.
So 2 kind of important things happen. I don't know how important they are for the rest of the series, but in terms of the story, they're the former warden or vice warden of
Shiryu. Yeah,
Shiryu of the Rain, who is a swordsman.
Yep.
He was cutting down prisoners to just kill them for fun,
to practice. Yeah.
For practice and. Magellan put him in the bottom of the prison, waiting for death, just because you can't do that. That was too much even for Magellan.
Yeah.
And he gets out because of the riot happening. So Magellan releases him earlier than Buggy letting everyone out.
Yeah.
And then Hannibal encounters the group. And this is his moment where he realizes, I have to do this. This is my calling. This is what I have to do as the future warden of this, whatever. Yeah. And he has a nice moment where he has to take on whoever is in front of him and stop who's ever trying to escape.
He fails. But he does try and he shows some backbone.
But this is the moment where he matures.
At least a little.
Yeah. And as they're leaving, I forget what level it is. It's either 2 or 1.
Well, if it's what I'm thinking of, it's when they actually leave is when they lose.
Yeah. Well, so Luffy tries to take on Magellan again, but he's faced with the choice: leave or face Magellan, and he has to go save Ace, so he has to leave.
Yeah.
But in one of the greatest character moments in the anime, because
quite frankly, probably one of the greatest character moments in any format of
any manga, the whole series. This is like top 10 things I'm never gonna forget.
Yeah.
Mr. 2, who's still not dressed like Mr. 2 from the. He is still Freddie Mercury'd out with like just the pants, the muscles, and like he did he pose as Luffy or something and lure Magellan?
I believe he posed as Magellan or Hannibal, one of the two.
He posed.
I think he posed as Magellan.
Well, he posed as Magellan to let everyone out.
He gets everyone out, and he stays behind.
Yeah.
And opens the gate. And doesn't tell anybody he's doing this, mind you.
Yeah. He just lets everyone out.
So they're all on the boat, and then someone turns around and goes, "How are we going to get out of the gate?"
And the gate is open.
They just open.
Yep. So Mr.
And
2,
they're like, how did that happen? And they just hear over the intercom.
Mr. 2 was the linchpin of everything happening.
Yeah.
And he stays behind to face down Magellan. And
to also hold him up, yeah.
And you know who's going to win. However, the moment that you're left on is not the actual fight, but just Mr. 2 just standing his ground, ready to fight. The way that he it's a similar rehash of the moment he had against Black Cage, but the fact that it's as good as, if not better, and just as dynamic,
if not more,
carries through, and you don't ever see him again.
At least not yet.
There's things that are in canon that referencing. So, but I forget what the chapter is, but there's a manga issue that the cover image, the same cover image that that we got the stories of the One Piece crew. That one confirms that he's still alive.
Does it? I haven't seen that one.
Well, it's one of those things that you wouldn't pay attention to. It's
yeah.
But this leads into the Marineford arc, which it's not a very long arc.
It's a heavily dense arc.
It's a very dense arc, and it's also very important because it sets up so many things going forward.
Yeah.
But this is the status as you're left. There's 7 captains, supposedly, on the Navy side, trying to kill Ace. And then there's an emperor from the New World coming in to save Ace. Luffy and his crew of
heading in,
his crew of misfit breakouts, his makeshift army
crew,
is coming to save Ace, and I want to say this is reference. I don't know to what extent this is true, but there's 2 other pirate crews that are in the New World, the Emperors. One is Shanks and one is Kaido. And Kaido was referenced in...
Well, I forget when they do it, but it is definitely during this arc where Shanks basically gets Kaido to turn around.
And
we don't know if they fought. We don't know if they
we don't
talked.
know. We don't know what happened. Generally, what happens when emperors meet... when Shanks met with Whitebeard, they had a disagreement, and they literally cut the sky in half.
Yeah, their sword clashing.
Cut the sky.
Part of the clouds.
And so we don't know what happened between Kaido, and we don't know if it was a weakness thing, like Kaido was gonna crush Whitebeard when he was also dealing with the Navy.
Yeah, they're not real clear as to why he's heading.
It's not clear, but you kind of get the sense that Shanks is a good guy.
Yeah. About
the whole story. It's gonna be heartbreaking when we find out if he's doing something dastardly.
Don't know,
but
that's
pretty
much the end of Impel Down.
That's anyone's guess, but
yeah,
that's pretty much it. So we hit this is the first half of the War of the Best. This is maybe the greatest arc or saga in all of One Piece, just because you go from like the highly emotional Sabaody arc where you have Luffy punching out the Celestial Dragon to being beaten again in Impel Down.
Yeah.
And then you have Marineford coming up, and then you have
he just absolutely
the fallout from that.
He has a bad couple arcs.
Yeah. He doesn't have it the worst, though.
He does not. He's not dead.
Okay, so, all right, guys. Thanks for listening. This is a really long episode of Matt and Aaron Talk One Piece, but it's worth it. All right, peace.
Catch you later.